Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Taragayenicole here. How you guys doing? I hope you are well. I am doing well. I'm actually on my way to work for the evening shift. It's been a busy day today, but it's okay. I am actually here to talk about a subject that is very personal to me, and you guys know I'm big on health on my channel as well. Your health is your wealth, and I figured, since this is, if you follow me on Instagram, you see that I post a lot of different pictures of me being getting needles, infusions, hospitals, things like that, because a lot has been going on, and it's a one thing causing most of it. It's like the root of the problem. So I just figured I would come on here and share. It took me a little while to think of, like, because I don't mind sharing general things with you guys, but sometimes when you get super personal, people get funny. So it is going to be the real deal. Like, it's a problem I've been dealing with for about to be over 14 years now, and it may even lead to me having to consider having a hysterectomy, and I don't have any kids, and I'm talking about having fibroids. And so if you're not interested in hearing about fibroids and bleeding and clotting and things like that, then you should switch off the video now, because I'm going to be real. And it might be long, so I'm going to probably be recording this all the way to work. I'm going to try not to make it super long, but if it's a little long, just get your tea, get your snacks if you want to hear about it. Or if it's something you're going through, feel free to leave comments down below. So basically how it all started. When I got my period, probably like a regular age, 11, 12, 13, around there. I don't even remember. Got it like a normal kid, was getting them normally. Then as I was getting older, I wasn't getting them as normally anymore. My periods was not getting them as normally anymore, which I wasn't having sex, so I was like super excited. Like, I grew up in the church, so we weren't supposed to have sex till we were married, and so I was the fear of God, and I wasn't. So when I started missing periods, I was like, okay, this is great, And in my household is very Jamaican traditional, and they don't really talk about like sex, and they just tell you not to do it. They don't prepare you, like, this is war, you're not supposed to do this. My mother used to tell me that if a guy touched me, like physically just touched my arm, leg, wherever, I would get pregnant. So I would be the one like walking across the street, walking down the street, and a guy would be coming down the street, and I would jolt across the street so that they wouldn't accidentally touch me, because I didn't want to get pregnant. Like, who does that to their child? Mom. Anyway, it kept me from getting pregnant until obviously I had school, health, and whatever. But health can cover but so much. So like, they don't cover fibroids and uterine things like that, and ablations. They don't cover things like that. They just cover the general, which is, I guess, not their job. So when these periods started missing and stuff like that, I didn't even think nothing of it. I just kept on moving. Like, this is great. I'm not pregnant, I'm not worried. Until I got to college, and I was in my last year of college. I was like 20, 21, and I decided I wanted to be fresh. I was talking to this guy for like a year or two now, and I was like, well, I was out of church, wasn't really going anymore, so I didn't have the same fear of God, and I don't know where having sex before marriage went out the window. So I was like, oh yeah, I think this is the guy I want to have sex with, blah, blah, blah. But my other sister, she had gotten pregnant in college, and I saw how it would like mess my mom up a little bit, so I didn't want to do the same thing, even though my nephew is a blessing and I love him now. I've always loved him. I mean, I love him, but like, I didn't want to do that to her. So I went to, I thought I was grown, and I was like, Mom, I want to have sex, and can we go to the gynecologist and check everything out and get me birth control, because I don't want to have kids right now. And she was like, she took it way better than I thought. She's like, okay, let's go, blah, blah, blah. So we go, and the doctor's examining me, and she says, your uterus feels like you have like a 2-3 month old child in there. And I was like, she's like, are you sure you're not having sex? And I was like, are you sure you're not pregnant? She said. And I was like, unless I'm the Virgin Terror, I'm definitely not pregnant. And God never came down and told me anything, so no. And so she's like, well, your uterus is really big. And I was like, okay, what does all this mean? She's like, well, you have to go in for an ultrasound and you have to go in for an internal and an external. I'm like, what? They're going to stick stuff in there? I don't understand what's happening. So we go in and I go in and I get the ultrasounds, internal and external. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, you know, I see the technician's face, like something's not right. Come to find out, I had fibroids. And of course now I'm Googling everything because I don't know what the heck fibroids are. And I found out they're like mass tumors that are just filled with blood that are non-cancerous. And you know, you're doing your research and all of that. And I'm like, what the heck? And so my initial question is like, how did this happen? Like, how do you get fibroids and what can I do to get rid of them? The unfortunate part is that so many people get fibroids that they don't even know what causes fibroids and they don't know how to get rid of them. Like, there are lots of people on YouTube that have videos that show how they're shrinking their fibroids with their eating changes and using olive oil, like castor oil packs, and that's fine. I'm sure that's working for them. That's great. But like, no medical person will be able to tell you how to get rid of it, which really sucks because you don't really know the root of the problem. And I know people who are very holistic that feel like, you know, the root of the problem is you having some kind of issues with men in your life, and you need to get rid of that and then change your eating type thing. So, and this probably all helps, but your fibroids are also fed with estrogen, which I feel like, I don't know why doctors don't tell you just need to lose some weight, because I feel like if it's estrogen build and the bigger you are, the more estrogen you have, then you kind of are over estrogening your body, and then you probably should attempt to lose some weight. But like, somebody tell me something. So like, okay, I had to wait till I graduated. Let me get back to my story. So I wait till I graduate and have surgery. Of course, now I'm terrified. Like, I have to have surgery. You're gonna put me under. Like, this is my first real surgery, and you're cutting me open. And I was like, what? So, but they're like, it has to come out. It's sitting on your bladder. It's doing all this stuff in there. Blah blah blah. I go and have the surgery. I wake up and the doctor shows me pictures of these things, and they're like the sizes of grapefruits, and there's more than one of them. And I'm like, wow, that was just sitting in my body. Are you kidding me? And I wake up and I'm like, you know, I'm younger, so I feel a little bit of pain, but I'm like, okay, I'm ready to walk around. And my mother's like, really? You're walking around already? I'm like, yeah, I feel okay. You know, there's pain, but it's manageable, and I have a very high tolerance for pain, so you really can't listen to me when it comes to things like that. But the problem is, I look down and they've cut me up and down, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, I thought I was gonna get like a bikini cut. The doctor explains to me your fibers were too big to go on the bottom in a bikini cut, so we have to cut you this way. So, I mean, not like I had the best body in the world and was gonna wear a bikini, but if I wanted to wear a bikini, now what? Now what? I got a big old cut right here. Like, what the heck? So, okay, fine. They're out. That's great. No problem. Then I go to eat something, guys. I go to eat, and I will never forget it. It was a turkey and cheese sandwich from the hospital, and it was good. Because I was hungry or it was just good. And I was eating it. I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm good, I'm okay. You know, slight pain, but I'm good. About 5-10 minutes later, I am throwing up everything. Everything is coming up. Everything is coming up. Oh my God, what is happening to me? Now it's just coming up to the point where there's no food in my, because there's already no food in your stomach from surgery. Then I just had the little bitty turkey sandwich in there for food, and then I just kept throwing up. Now it's green bile coming up. So they come rushing, and the doctor's like, oh my God, what's happening? And I'm like, I don't know, you're the doctor. And I'm throwing up, and he starts shoving the tube down my throat while I'm awake. So now I'm pissed. I'm like, what are you, like, I'm literally fighting the doctor. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just shove things down people's throat while they're awake. That's crazy. Like, I'm not saying any of that, but I'm thinking it, and I'm mad, and I'm like literally trying to hit the doctor. Come to find out, I wake up in ICU. They tell me that I have a kink from where the fibroid was. The fibroid was holding up, like, holding open one of my intestines. So when they took it out, it kinked up, and any food I ate wouldn't go past. So they had to go back in through the same, what is happening? They had to go back in through the same wound and do a gastrointestinal surgery. I can't see anything. A gastrointestinal surgery to unkink the kink. Girl, I woke up in ICU because I think I went under pissed, like mad. My blood pressure was on ridiculous, and I was sitting in ICU just mad, and I wouldn't get unmad. I didn't leave ICU for 2 to 3 days until my grandmother came and talked to me, and she was like, Tara, you have to calm down. Let's pray. You have to calm down. You have to get out of ICU, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, by the end of that day, I was out of ICU. Something about grandmas, and I love mine. They will calm me right down. So that was that. That was that surgery. And it was strange because my doctor says to me, Tara, if you should have kids now. And I'm looking at him like he's lost his mind. Like, I was like, I just graduated college. I don't have a job. Who are you telling to have a kid? Like, and the guy I'm dating, like, we've been dating for a long time, but I'm about to move back home and he lives up here. Like, what? No, ma'am. But I feel like he should have went into more detail, or maybe I wasn't paying attention when he did, that it was probably going to be a problem to have kids later if I didn't have kids now. So I didn't understand that at the time, but I see now why he said it. So I move on with my life, and I've lost like a lot of weight from this because the gastro thing makes it hard to eat and things like that. I'm like 189 pounds, y'all. I mean, I was only 2 something to begin with, but like still, I've lost like a good 30 pounds from this surgery. I'm excited and blah, blah, blah. So I'm living my life. Everything's great. I'm in a relationship, blah, blah, blah. A couple years later, I go to, not a few, like years later, like 20, I want to say 2012, 2013, I go to OBGYN, starting to feel some pain. What the heck is happening? These bleeding is heavy. What is going on? Why is this road like this? And the camera's shaking. I'm so sorry. So I go, and she's like, oh my God, you have this huge fibroid in there. You cannot, like, she was more panicked than my first doctor. You cannot see like this. We need to schedule you a surgery. This is so bad. I was like, what the flip is happening? Like, why is the urgency? She's like, you don't feel this? I was like, not really. She's like, your period, I think, yeah, they're heavy, but they've been heavy for years now. It is what it is. Like, I learned to live with it. It's okay. And she was like, oh no. She was like, these are sitting on like your bladder and everything, and they're taking up so much room. She freaked me out. But she was a nice doctor and whatever. So eventually the surgery for that got scheduled. We took that fibroid out. And when we were recovering, while I was recovering, I started, my recovery was always really good. I don't know why. And I was recovering fine, and then I started feeling pain on the left side. And I went back into her for a follow-up, and I was like, I don't feel well on the left side. I don't know what's going on. The cut is healing fine. And she goes in, and she says, we left one in there. What do you mean? Like, my initial reaction is like, I want to fight you. Like, I have an anger issue. Like, what do you mean you left one in there? Just leave it in there. Like, at this point, you know what I mean? And she's like, I'm so afraid to go back in that I'm going to recommend a doctor to do it with me. Now, mind you, this is my third surgery. To take out an extra one was like only 2 or 3 months after the second surgery. So we end up going back to a different hospital. Now we're in Morristown Hospital, and I get this guy that I don't even like because he's like super arrogant, but he's supposed to be so good with laparoscopic, which is like the robotic surgery, instead of like going back into the cut, because I'm in the same cut. They just keep opening the same cut over and over again to do it, which is fine. So I'm not diced up. It's just the same cut. So he goes in and he tells me in the beginning, he was like, you've done this surgery a lot to the point where you may end up having a hysterectomy. We will try not to do that and save you because, you don't have kids yet and you're still kind of young. I feel like I was I might have been in my 30s or late 20s. And he was like, we don't want to do that, but it might be a case because you probably have a lot of scarring in there. And if we can't see or we can't stop the bleeding, then blah, blah, blah. So I went into that surgery already a little stressed out because they're talking about hysterectomy. And honestly, at some point I was like in my head, like, take it if you need to, like, because I was that annoyed at this whole situation. Let me tell y'all, had that surgery, got out of that surgery, felt okay, looked down, and I had 4 holes because they tried to do it laparoscopically, and then they couldn't even do it laparoscopically. They end up just doing a regular myomectomy, which is the surgery to remove the fibroid. So there was the cut down, and then there was holes. The holes were really easy to you know, to heal, but that damn, this is the part that hurts my heart every time I think about having to have another surgery. Like, now I've had surgery, couldn't even get it out. I had surgery 2 other times. So I know what healing wounds look like. Healing scarring looks like. When I went back to the doctor to have the staples removed out of the 3rd surgery, it did not look right. And I said to that nurse, I said, this looks really watery. This doesn't look like it's healing right. Are you sure it's going to be fine? And now as I think back on things like this, I should have sued these people. She says to me, it's fine. It's normal. It's fine. You guys, she took the staples out. I went home that evening, sat on the toilet to go to the bathroom, and that wound, that scar opened right up. All I had was blood and fluid coming into the toilet on my legs, and I'm just looking like, you know, you're shocked, devastated initially, like, what the flip? I'm gonna die. Everything's gonna come out. Oh my God. So I called my friend. I'm like, Dawn, you have to come help me. Oh my God, I need to go to the hospital. I'm sitting here with a towel in front of me. Like, I grabbed the towel, trying to stop the bleeding and all that. And, you know, she comes, she picks me up, we head to the hospital. I'm like, oh my God. And now in my head, I'm thinking, you know, they're just going to go in there. There's a lot of people involved today. They're just going to go in there and they're going to just staple me back up. No. That's not how any of that works. They go in and they look at it, and I guess they clean it out, and they send you home with this open wound. Because you can't close the wound back up once it's open. You have to let it manually heal on its own. What? Say what? Like, you have to what? So then I had to have a nurse come every day to change it. I had a wound. You don't see them? What are you doing? Are you crazy? I'm sorry, like, there are people in front of me, like, he's backing up, and the guy was already backing up. He literally almost hit him. I literally had to just stop him. That is insane. Don't back up, please. I just want to go straight. Oh, accident about to happen. So, yeah, I'm sorry. So, real life, y'all, real life. So, you know, I'm like in awe, like, I have to wait for this to close. Are you kidding? So, you know, and I've got a nurse coming every day to change the wound. Like, I had a wound vac pumping out crap out of my wound. I had to hold it over my shoulder like a bag. I couldn't even go anywhere because I wasn't allowed to drive. It took, long story short, I eventually had to, like, learn how to clean it myself and change all the bandages and the wounds myself. Long story short, guys, I had an open wound for over a year. A little over a year. And I had to start looking for another job. And I had to start going to the wound care center, and they would change it and clean it for me just to kind of monitor it. I had 2 wound debridement surgeries, which just means, like, they clean out the wound for you. Like, you go under, like, local anesthetic, and they go in and they clean it out to try and, like, get you new fresh skin, I guess, to, like, have it attached to. It didn't work. When I tell you that when I was going to the wound care center, the guy says to me, the doctor says to me, after almost going there a couple months, and I was going into about a year that I was doing this, he said, whoever you believe in, start praying hard. He was like, because at this point, you've done 2 wound debridements. You have, you know, you're doing everything we tell you to do here. I don't know what else you're going to do but pray. And when I tell y'all, I don't think I was praying, y'all. Like, and it started to close. Like, as soon as I had to, like, really start seriously praying, it started to close. And I will not lie to you, that was the one time in my life where I felt like I was, like, not necessary on this earth. Like, through that whole year of having that, I was like, what is the purpose of me being here? Like, if I were to ever say I was going to be suicidal in life, it would have been at that point in life. Like, I did not see the point of being on earth at that point. Obviously, I didn't do anything crazy, but, you know, I wasn't going to do that. But I'm not brave enough for that. But, like, it was a tough time. Like, it was tough. Y'all don't know how happy I was, or maybe if you've gone through this, how happy I was when that wound started to close up. Like, it was like, I don't even know what to say. It was great. So that's done. And I now am dodging. When I tell you dodging the OBGYN like they're the plague. Like, I am not going back to another OBGYN so they can come and tell me that I have another fibroid and that I'm going to, like, no, going to have another surgery. It's not happening. Like, it's not happening. I'm not doing it. I'm not going. So until I had to, which is this last year. I had to go. Like, I didn't have a choice because my period started, and I would notice, like, lately when I was having my period all last year, I would get clots. When I tell you clots, I mean clots of blood were coming out. I would sit on the toilet and just drop clots. I would have to wear 3 pads. Like, always owes me money. Like, how much money I said, when I get my life together, I'm buying stock in pads because they're making buku bucks, okay? Like, I went through a pack of pads, like, not the small one, like 28 count, 30 count in a month. Oh, I'm sorry, a month. Like, in a week, okay? Like, it was ridiculous. I had to wear the purple overnight pads with the orange pads on top of them. One point, I was wearing 3 of them to bed. Like, it was so bad. I couldn't go anywhere because I felt like I was going to destroy everything. I would go into the bathroom and then just be a mess. I'm like, yo, this is the worst ever. And I started feeling, like, super tired. Like, what is happening to me? Of course, losing all this blood, I didn't realize at that point, I'm, like, super anemic. And when I tell you, the clots used to come to the point where you'd be standing there talking to somebody and you know you had to dash off to the bathroom because clots don't absorb into your pads. They just come and they make a big mess. It is the worst. It is the worst. Like, it's not, I don't know how to explain it. If you never had it, I pray you never get it. So what happens is I have to go to the OBGYN now, which God is so good. It just happened that when I got insurance is when it all went to hell. So I go and I start my period like in October, but my period is not ending. It's heavy, it's clotting, and it's not stopping. I'm now like into November and still bleeding. So I'm like, oh, and now I'm having a sharp pain, which I'm not going to go deeply into that one because I already told y'all about the ruptured cyst. Turns out I had a ruptured cyst, which only made more blood plus pain. Excuse me. That didn't go away, and the bleeding just kept stopping. Just kept going. They did my blood work, found out I was like a 7.2, which is like, it's severe anemic to the point where I had to come in the next day to make sure I didn't need a transfusion. Did not need a transfusion. Went to have to go to the hematologist. Now I have hematologist. He wants me to have iron infusions. I've had 2 of those, and I just had another one yesterday, actually. So now I'm 3, and I'll do another one next week. But he was not happy with the results when I went to see him on Monday because I was at 10.1, but then I had a heavy bleeding episode and went down back to 9.2. And he was like, you should be in the teens by now. Like, you need to be at 11 or 12. So I was like, okay. So hematology is now involved. Like, all of this is costing money. Like, I've got a $40 copay every time I go to these places. I had to go to the emergency room 3 times for this heavy bleeding and pain, and urgent care already for this to figure out the ruptured cyst. I now have to go to a surgeon / OBGYN / oncology lady, which is more money. Like, it's so much, you guys. It's so much. And I'm at the point where I'm just like, please just take it out. Now I am bleeding. I bled for over 100 days. 100 days in a row. And I am tired. So now they're giving me something called a Lupron shot, which is like a depot shot that's supposed to kind of put you into premenopausal state so that it can help shrink the fibroids. Oh, I have 3 new fibroids. My fibroids are about 10 centimeters. That's one of them. Then the other one's about 8.6 and the other one's about 4 point something. There are 3 of them. So they're way up here. And so I've got fibroid babies in there. And I'm tired, you guys. Like, I don't have kids, and that really sucks. But I'm tired. Like, I can't. So what's going to happen is, this is the plan, because I had to fast and I had to pray. Because I was like, Lord, I know what I want to do is have a hysterectomy, but I don't know if that's what you want me to do for my life. So I had to pray and fast. And thank you, Luanda. She's praying and fasting with me too. And she got her group of her circles. She got her circles out there praying too. And the bleeding has actually stopped. I guess the Lupron is finally helping. And of course, Jesus is helping. It's like spotting now. Nothing crazy, but hallelujah. Okay, you know what I mean? So the doctor, when I prayed and fasted, I was like, Lord, I need an answer and I need somebody to tell me something to do. So when I went to the doctor was like, okay, what we're going to do is finish out Lupron, because I guess with Lupron, I usually take it for 6 months. We're going to finish out your Lupron. I'm in 2 months in, and I get another one in February, which will be my 3rd one. And I think it's finally starting to work, y'all. Praise God and his holy name. And she wants to see if we can shrink these fibroids down. So y'all know, like the last doctor said, homegirl will be praying. And please, y'all, keep me in your prayers that these things shrink. Because if we can shrink them down, and even if we shrink them, because right now having even just a hysterectomy surgery is super dangerous because the uterus is huge. Like no one wants to go in there and do that. So if we can shrink them down to a size to have the hysterectomy, then fine. But even better if we can shrink them down to a size to nothing and go back to just having a regular uterus, will be God's gracious miracle mercies. You know what I mean? So keep me in your prayers if you remember. That would be wonderful. I'm going to keep praying. And also, my doctor would like me to lose weight, because she was like, she feels like the open wound happened because of the fat tissue was too much or something like that, and it got a cyst and it burst and all that stuff. And then she said just in general, having surgery, being a smaller weight for blood pressure and things like that will be better regardless. So, which makes sense. Like, it totally makes sense. So I'll be trying to lose some weight. They wanted me to see a nutritionist, but I think I pretty much figured, like, I know how to eat in order to lose weight. Just being really tired lately has just not been easy to cook and things like that, but I'm gonna have to figure it out, y'all. And what else did she say? Oh, so we'll follow up with her in, I think, April, do another ultrasound, see where we're at, if they have shrunk at all, and then we'll make a decision whether we're going to go in and do the full hysterectomy, if we're just going to keep watching it, do a myomectomy. I don't know, y'all. I don't have the answers. I don't know the answers. I just like to know that we have somewhat a plan going on right now. So my plan is to try to eat a little bit better. She said that eating, you know, she said the heavier that you are, like I was explaining before, it has more estrogen in your body. So that's what that is. However, this whole like eating vegan and things like that is not necessarily what's going to shrink your fibroids. She was like, yes, what you should be careful of is not putting estrogen rich foods in your body. So get yourself chicken that is farm raised and antibiotic free and grass fed ground beef and things like that. Spend the money on better quality food. Get your organic things. That way you're not getting extra hormones in your body. She did agree with that. But she was like, just cutting meat and stuff like that out is not going to work. She was like, she didn't say that was going to work, but she doesn't think it is medically going to work. So, that with prayer and the Lupron, hopefully we'll have a good report come April, and I can always update you guys if you want to know. I'm having iron fusions again. I had one yesterday and I'll have one next Friday, and hopefully within 6 to 8 weeks that'll boost me up and give me some good energy for like the springtime, which will be amazing. And I go see him again. So, you know, I understand y'all out there with fibroids. It's hard, but don't give up, and you got to pray, and you got to do the best you can. Go see your OBGYN. Don't dodge them like I did, but it gets frustrating, and I know the pain. I know the frustration. It's annoying. But I'm done, y'all. I'm done. I'm not gonna bore you anymore with my life story over here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, in order to be great, you have to be grateful. Have a wonderful, blessed day.